8.0 is coming and I'm not even close to being ready. This is me leveling every class to 100, clearing every piece of content, and squeezing every single gil out of the market board and beyond. All of it documented right here, right now. There's a lot to do and I have no idea if I'll even be able to do it, so let's not waste any more time and get right into the grind. With Endwalker behind me, there's a lot I need to get done. Right now, I'm just starting the Endwalker post-patch, and while I still have a lot more main story to do, my Warrior and my Scholar are both at the appropriate level. So in the meantime, while I'm continuing to progress that in the background, I want to go around and unlock every piece of content I possibly can. I'm going to start this based on the teleport list here, which basically puts me in the Limsa lower decks, where you can see that right here we have a job quest from Lawnwork. Now before I really do anything with that, I have a policy to not play a class unless it looks nice and pretty. So before we do anything, I'm going to make sure that I make a nice little rogue glam, and I'll see you back here when I have done that. Now, while I might not be the best at making glams, I think they're at least somewhat decent to look at, so I know the first thing to start with is to just check out what you have. Right now, I'm choosing Glamour Plate 7 because it's just one that I don't have anything on, and I'm going to go look through all of my different pieces and see what might be appropriate for a solid rogue. Now, unfortunately, nothing really stood out, so the next task is to go check on the market board and see what is available. I doubt any of this stuff at the higher level is going to be super appropriate, although that's kind of nice. But, you know, all of this is going to be super expensive as well. So we're going to just go down a little bit and start looking at what might be somewhat decent for a ninja/rogue outfit. Now, this mountain linen top of striking is pretty nice, and something you might not actually be aware of is that ninjas weren't wearing black a lot of the time. Most of the time, they were actually wearing more of a blue color. Now, this might be a little bold, but for a fantasy world like Final Fantasy XIV, I'd like to stick at least somewhat in this realm, kind of just to add to that pop of color rather than sticking with the blacks and grays that I'm used to. Now, one of my major complaints is that for all the jobs we get in this game, we don't actually have enough glamour plates for them all. We only have 20 when we have 21 combat jobs. That's something that I really hope they remedy come Evercold, and it's something that I think they needed to fix a long time ago, because we can't even have a space for crafters even if we don't do all of the main combat jobs. Now that's a lot more like it. So heading back to the lower decks and going back over to that quest, we can actually start getting some of those ninja job quests done slowly but surely, though we aren't going to be explicitly leveling him. So here we are back at Lawnward, and we're about to enter the Rogues Guild. It's actually kind of funny. My first time through a Final Fantasy, I actually main Ninja for the vast majority of the game before switching to Sage and Viper in Dawntrail. One quick teleport and some exposition later, here we are at the Morbid Dry Docks talking to Swarsint, and now to wait at our destination. Another quick teleport later and we're back with Jack in Aleport. And finally, as so many of these early missions end up being, we get to go hit things. So the idea here is that we're freeing some hostages. I think kind of generally the idea is that they're going to be around here, maybe even in some of these buildings, which I should probably go and check. And it does appear we found our first hostage hiding in this little room here, so we're just going to take out this axe-wielding adventurer who, at this point in the story, would have been just as likely to become the Warrior of Light as me, and free this little girl from her bindings. Sneaking into this other building with Hyde, we find another girl with bindings, or another guy with bindings, and we're actually going to be using the sneak attack here to get a bit of an advantage in this fight. And with that and a little bit of interacting, that is 2 hostages saved out of 4. Just going to hide again so none of these guys attack me, and go upon our way. Finally sneaking into this other building, we see the last 2 people in bindings, in chains, right behind this other axe-wielding adventurer. Just going to sneak attack him, and then take him down like all the others. Finally, with just a little more interacting, both of these guys are going to be freed, and that will be the duty complete. Looks like we gotta deal with some axe-wielding adventurers first, as Jack got himself seen, but these guys should be pretty easily dispatched. Now we're gonna talk to Jack just one more time, and that's Stifled Screams complete, and the Throwing Dagger unlocked, which I will assign to Q. Now it looks like we have one more mission from Jack, level 15, Slave to the Code, in which we're actually going to get the Mug ability, which increases the target's damage taken by 5%. For this mission, all we're going to do is fly over to Quarterstone here. Unfortunately, we've been interrupted again by a Rotano Buccaneer, and finally speak to the beggarly boy. One skip cutscene later, and we are back fighting more people. This one should be fairly easy. Let me just take out these guys first, and we'll deal with the big boss later, because he's always the hardest, and I don't want to deal with him now. Remember, it's important in these Realm Reborn duties, especially to take out the guy with the staff first and foremost. It's probably the most important thing to do, and it'll just make sure that you're not constantly fighting wave after wave of enemies with increasing amounts of health. So we're going to take out this guy, Waster, now, and I'll be back once we're done with this mission. And after a huge amount of time and a lot of game files slain, that is it for that duty. A quick conversation with Jack back at the Rogues Guild later, and we are done with the level 15 Rogues quest. We're just going to take these bronze pieces as well as the dagger that comes along with it. And we have learned Mug, a really nice supportive action that will make us do more damage overall. Alrighty, so I've actually made the executive decision to not do any more job quests. It just seemed like it would kind of be a pain in the ass, especially because I'm not playing most of those jobs right now. So we're actually back at the Waking Stands talking to Urianger in his Realm Reborn outfit to accept some more quests. Now, the ones that I have right now are the Titan Extreme, I believe, as well as the Bahamut Raid series, which is something I don't think I've actually ever done before. So that will be especially interesting. But first, we're going to get this Titan one done, so it's off to Limsa we go. Now, keep in mind, for a lot of these, I've either done them before, or I'm just going to read the text off screen, so if it looks like I'm just kind of skipping around, that's how it's going to be. And just like the other Realm Reborn Extremes, I got to reattune to this Aetheryte real quick. And with just a little bit of punching, Titan Extreme should be dead very shortly. And that is Titan defeated, Earth to Earth achievement unlocked, and the final Realm Reborn Extreme, besides obviously Bahamut, finished. Now we're going to give this Storm Commander the Ritual Focus, and finally return to Vesper Bay to give the Ritual Focus to Urianger in the Waking Sands. Turns out that I actually lied. I haven't even done the Ifrit Extreme, and so we're going to go do that right now. I've also made the decision that I think I'm going to leave Bahamut for another video, just so I can go through that story, tell you my thoughts on it, because I actually haven't done it before. So I think that will be more interesting than shoving it in here with a bunch of random crap. Now that we're here, we're just getting briefed by Swift here, my guy. And like the other ones, we're going to go reattune to the Zaharak Aetheryte really quickly, teleporting to the Forgotten Springs. And with one more attunement, and with one more boss kill, we can then show this Ritual Focus to Swift, and we'll find ourselves right back at the Waking Sands to show it directly to Urianger as well. Now, this quest from Urianger, after completing all that, I don't actually know what it is, but it looks like we're just giving Rowena the totems we're getting from these extreme trials, much like how you do in later expansions. A lot of this I actually haven't experienced before, so it's interesting seeing how these mechanics worked while the game was still in A Realm Reborn. Seems like we're actually just giving her those ritual foci, and finally we just have to show them to Lorena right here. We will be rewarded with 3 Rowena's tokens, which, yeah, basically this is how you get some of the superior weapons, and that is going to be that. It's a repeatable quest, so it looks like if I want to get some really cool glam, I will have to do that multiple times. Now, it actually looks like we have already done most of the Realm Reborn stuff, except for a couple quests in Mordona. One of the first ones, or some of the first ones that I think I have to do, are these ones from Alice and the Wandering Minstrel, where I believe these are additional trial unlocks as well. So we're going to start with the Wandering Minstrel and see what he's got for us. Alrighty, so in talking to the Wandering Minstrel, it looks like we actually already have the things that he wanted, but we have unlocked the Duty Recorder, which is kind of nice. For Alice, however, it looks like we are going to be getting the Ultimate Ballad. I believe this is Ultima. but I guess we'll see. And I was absolutely right. After talking to this kind of weirdo sitting behind me, I have unlocked the ultimate weapon in Minstrel's Ballad Ultima Bane, the first of many of Minstrel Ballads throughout the game. Just like the others, we're going to take this out really quick, and I will see you when we are done. Alrighty, after about 20 seconds of grueling combat, we have finally taken down the Minstrel's Ballad Ultima Bane and completed this mission. So now we can just talk to the Wandering Minstrel one more time, and 939 gil will be our reward. Finally, in Mordona, we have this quest from Ko Rabnat, which appears to be Eureka Orthos. Alrighty, so it seems like we have to help the Archmagist Noah along with Grahatia with some sort of task at the 8 Sentinels over here. Now, what this task is, I have no idea, and something I always thought was kind of weird is that I can't fly here, so after a very long walk over to the 8 Sentinels, I guess we'll find out what that is. So it seems that Noah wants us to access this ancient laboratory beneath Circus Tower, and basically that's the lore kind of behind the Deep Dungeon Eureka Orthos. This is something that I'm going to get into later down the line. The Deep Dungeons are something I've always wanted to really get into, but at the moment, I'm just going to unlock it and be done. And finally, after one last talk with Ko or Noah, and a quick chat with Katoon, we have finally completed this quest and unlocked Eureka Orthos. And with that, we have completed all of the blue quests available to us in the Realm Reborn zones. Now, it's on to Heavensward. So, starting off Heavensward, the first quest that immediately caught my eye was this Skysteel Engineer's Mislaid Plans. Now, this is a quest that is a blue quest and is available to us, but it is actually the start of the Skysteel Tools Relic quest chain, and so I'm actually going to leave that for later. Otherwise, one of the big ones that we're going to have to get done is this Sky Pirates storyline, which I believe is the raid series for Heavensward. So after talking to Rontremont, and meeting the cargo ship helmsman, and finally talking to Stasia, we have arrived at the Sky Pirates' den, or nest, or whatever you call a floating city in the sky full of pirates. After following Stasia for a while, we finally get to meet Leofard. We then meet Radlia, Captain of the Talons, in the War of the Baddies. She seems to be a rival pirate leader who wants to kind of rule for herself, using Red Bill or Leofard as some sort of a lackey. It seems that we will be plundering some sort of ghost ship, theorized to be one of the Alagan's legacy items that's still kind of floating out there in the Sea of Clouds with no aim. Maybe a little too quickly, we agree to help the pirates, and we pay a quick visit to Utata to end this quest, where we continue our scheming to board the ghost ship. And after way too much safety talk for pirates, we have now gotten access to the Void Ark, though we will not actually be doing that right this second, given that it's an alliance raid and it is nearly 1 a.m. Instead, we'll be heading over to Idleshire, where we're going to talk to this painfully Ishgardian man. Quickly switching back to a class that can actually finish this quest, we're going to talk to this foe commander here, who is Chloe Alapo's pet, who just sort of looks like Americ and can apparently speak English. Apparently his name is actually Sotan, but really we'll just know him as the foe commander. He introduces us to something called the foe hollows, which will give us these things called foe leaves. These foe leaves will be acquired from the foe hollows, particularly through Unreal Trials, which are more difficult versions of things we've already done before. With that being all done, we can talk to the Gossamer Moogle over here to get the Fires of Som-Al or Som-Al Hard, one of the dungeons in Heavensward that has a secondary mode. Heading right over to the Churning Mist, we can talk to Vidofner, who asks us to go back into Som-Al and clean it from these beastly creations that are there after we defeated Nidhogg. And we now have Som-Al Hard accessible to us, making 2 different duties that we are going to have to get done. Though these will likely be done in the morning because I'm tired and I want to go to bed. So it is the next morning and I've decided to do Som-Al Hard on my warrior as just unsynced. Given that I'm 30 levels above, it shouldn't be that hard, so I will see you back here when I am done. Alright, so that was pretty painless to get to the first boss. Let's see how this goes. And that was a piece of cake. Might as well just grab some extra grain company seals while we're at it. You know, I really don't know why I thought this might be somewhat difficult. I'm really just tearing through here. Warrior can solo most level 90 dungeons, so there really shouldn't have been a doubt in my mind. Because I really haven't done much unsynced content, so I'm not super familiar with how the kind of difficulty scales. Alright, so coming up on bus 2, Gaorao, which is a name, I guess. And by effectively just pressing the primal rend button a couple times, this guy looks like he is pretty much dead. And that's boss 2 of Some All Hard done. And finally, after a lot of running and a lot of killing lava monsters, here we are, the very end of Some All Hard, ready to take down the Lava Scorpion. And just like before, with the other two bosses, with just a couple primal rends, fell cleaves, we are finished. And that is Some All Hard, done and dusted. We'll just go talk to Vidofnir one more time, skip a little cutscene, and get 5,000 gil and the Quicksand Orchestrion roll for the Fires of Some All level 60 quest complete. Now I really did want to do a little bit more in this video, but I just don't have any more time to get any more content out. Keep in mind, you know, I have a real life and things are getting pretty busy, so this might end up being a weekly thing, but I wanted to get a video out for you guys anyways, even if it is a little bit shorter and more full of Titan music. Regardless, I hope this was a good video, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe, and have a good one.